So we're in the last chapter in the book of Genesis, and we're about to learn about some funerals, but don't leave because it's not sad. So the first thing we see is that the mourning season came to an end. We're not supposed to be stuck in mourning or depressed forever. It took 40 days for them to handle the body, but 70 days for the mourning process. So just to reiterate, the mourning process is temporary. And then the second part was honoring their loved one's request, which was, don't you bury me in Egypt, take me back to Canaan. So that was Daddy Jacob's request. But in this chapter, Joseph passed away too, and he had the same request. When y'all leave here, I'm gonna need y'all to take my bones with you back to the land that God promised our people. We need to remember that this is a request of two men that literally had everything that the world has to offer. But what they desire most is what God promised, which is a certain land for their people. I think that's the main point of this chapter in a nutshell, but I cannot leave out the part where Joseph's brothers lied and said, well, Daddy said, don't kill us, just make us your slave, make us your servants forever for what we did to you. But this is something that believers need to hold on to, because this is one of the biggest forms of redemption and forgiveness exemplified, not just through the Bible, but through normal people like us. Even though he could have, he didn't fight fire with fire. He extinguished that fire with love. So yeah, they tried to bury the dude alive. They sent them off to Egyptian slavery. He went to prison for a gang of years, so on and so on. But he said what you meant for evil, what the enemy meant for evil, God turned it around and used it for my good. He would have never even been in Egypt if his brothers didn't sell him into Egyptian slavery. The only reason he was able to do that, it wasn't because of his strength. It wasn't because of human strength, because you know how we react when bad stuff happens to us. No, it was because during the refining process, during the fire, that's when he experienced God the most. He saw God, he felt God, and therefore he was able to see the blessings through his burden. He would have never been in a position to save God's people if his brothers didn't sell him into slavery. Ain't that crazy? And so let's wrap this up. As believers, when bad things happen to us, either being betrayed by loved ones or having to bury loved ones, we learn what the enemy plans for evil, God uses for good. And even in death, we still hang on to the truth of God, which is the promise of living a whole new life in a whole new body in a whole new world forever with him. What a way to end the book of Genesis. Remembering God's promise that we get to live a new life with him. So that's one book down in the Bible and 65 to go. Y'all with me?